I loved him so much that I went deaf. No, girl, I did not lose my hearing. But somewhere in that crazy relationship, I became tone deaf to my own voice. And it all started with something so stupid and dumb as the volume on the TV. Here's how it all went down. Okay, it was a regular night. We were sitting in the living room. He was watching TV, one of his shows, sitting on the couch. And I was trying to do some research for this thing I had at work. And this thing was like, it was kind of complicated and confusing. So I was actually trying to concentrate. So the TV's on and it's just a little bit too loud for my brain to focus. So in my normal, sweet, and kind voice, I ask, babe, would you mind turning down the TV a little bit? I'm trying to read this and it's kind of hard for me to concentrate. So he said, sure, yeah, I can do that. Simple, reasonable request. Problem solved, right? So I literally see him get up, walk to the TV, and adjust the volume. Okay. So now I go back to reading because, as far as I know, he did exactly what I asked him to do. So a few minutes go by, and I'm still straining to hear myself think. And I say out loud, dang, I must be getting old because I know you turned that TV down, but it still sounds so loud. I actually said that out loud. And then I said, babe, I'm sorry, but can you turn it down just a little bit more? Now, what I did not know was when he went to the TV to adjust the volume, he actually turned it up a notch. And then he turned it down right back to where it was before. So he looks at me and he says, look, your lack of concentration is not my problem. Everything ain't always about you. I need to hear the TV too. Now, like I said, I did not know the game he was playing, and I gave him credit for something that he never even did. I built the excuse for him myself out of my own body, out of my own agent, before he ever had to lift a finger to explain it. Never once did he say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I turned it down, or let me check. My bad, let me fix it. Nothing about the actual question did he say. He skipped right past that and went straight for my character. So now it's all my fault. It's my lack of concentration that's the issue. I'm the one who thinks everything is about me. See, I walked into that conversation with a simple request, and I walked out of it questioning my own hearing, my judgment, and my character. It took me a long time to realize what actually happened, and even longer to admit it. The television was exactly as loud as I thought it was. The only thing that changed in the room was me. At that moment, his voice became louder than mine, so much so that I was tone deaf to my own ears. That's it. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. He didn't even have to lie well. He just had to remain calm, remain confident, and let me talk myself out of what I knew was right. I did the hard part for him. All he had to do was sit back and watch me do it. This wasn't about the TV. If it was, we both would have just laughed about it and moved on with our lives. But it was the moment that I can honestly say, there it is. That's it right there. That's when I noticed it. This type of situation had been happening in smaller ways before that, and it kept happening over and over again. Babe, be ready tomorrow at 7. We going out on a date. Okay, I'm all excited. 6:30 comes. He ain't home. Okay, so I'm starting to worry. I called to confirm and, to get an ETA. He didn't answer. But here he comes, walking in at 7:15. And of course, I want an explanation. Once again, it's me. I'm the one expecting too much. I'm the one always with the drama. So instead of him saying, I'm sorry, or I know I told you I was going to be home so we can go out on a date, he gets defensive and says, damn, I had to work late. And look at you, you ain't even ready. Every single one of those moments on its own is small. It's small enough to kind of joke off, like laugh off. But after months and even years, they start to add up to something entirely different. It causes a person like me to question my own memory, my own eyes, my own ears. More importantly, my own gut. And that's how you go deaf without ever losing your hearing. It doesn't happen all at once. It can happen. One volume knob turned up and then turned down, right back to the same place at a time. These days, though, if something sounds too loud to me, it's too loud, period. And either I'm going to adjust the volume or I'm just going to leave the room. The problem wasn't that I couldn't hear. The problem was that I let him convince me that his voice was louder than mine. And once I understood that, I didn't need him to admit anything to me. I didn't want an apology. I didn't want a confession. I didn't want none of that. I just needed to hear myself again and start from there. So, yep, that's it. I loved him so much that I went deaf. But I got my hearing back now. And honey, let me tell you, I hear everything. So, if you've ever had your own version of this TV moment, that one small thing that made you go, wait, was that real? Or was that just me? Tell me in the comments. I surely want to hear it. And if this hit home, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I share honest conversations like this one every week. And until my next video, peace and blessings. And I'll see you on the other side.